incredible. I love the auctions that you've been having lately. What's going on right now? It's all working out. Things are going. People love auctions, and I love it. And it's, I have his artwork all over my place. You too. The official artist of the show. Always has been, always will be. And, that supports the show too. Puts him a little money to put inside of his Bridge wallet. Bridge wallet is an unbelievable, sleek, super amazing device. We all use it here on Kiltony. It's a minimal front pocket wallet that's designed to streamline what you carry every day.
Yeah, the front pocket part is probably my favorite because I've always, my whole life, kept a wallet in my back pocket. It's the same one I've had my whole, same kind of foldable wallet you get like at Target or something like that. And that just builds up with coupons and cards that you can put in there. And so you have a wallet that's like 5 inches thick. Yep. And you just sit on it. You're in the car going to work every day. That's bad for your back. When I got this thing, it's two metal plates together with a band, and it's just so nice to just only carry around what you need and keep it in your front pockets. It doesn't hurt your back. I love it. I don't think I could go back to the normal wallet.
That's true. And if you ever decided that for some reason you would, there's a lifetime warranty, which goes to show that it'll last forever. And free returns if you don't like it for any reason. If you're that confident that you're going to love it. It comes in titanium, carbon fiber, aluminum, and over a dozen different styles and colors. Get 10% off today with free worldwide shipping and returns by going to ridge.com/Kiltony. That's ridge.com/Kiltony. Use the code Kiltony link in the description so they know that we sent you. Caveman Coffee is delicious. They have a bunch of great things happening. Hibiscus tea.
Try that tea. If you like hibiscus tea, man, that's great. Like, put on ice.
I mean, they've really gotten me through this quarantine in an amazing way. Especially early on, all the coffee shops were closed after the looting happened in my neighborhood. The coffee shops were closed.
Are they open back up yet?
Yeah, they're open now. They're open now that they fixed all of the glass doors and windows.
Yeah, I drove down your street the other day. It was shocking how many places were boarded up. Like, you see it on the news, but
nothing. Basically, we covered.
That was like a week ago.
Oh yeah, but still, it's like you should have seen the next day. It was insane.
Yeah.
I couldn't even if it was a movie set, I'd be like, this seems unrealistic that this much damage would happen. Anyway, who cares? We're not talking about that because it drives me crazy what happened.
Yeah.
But things are better now. But the Caveman Coffee got me through it. Go to cavemancoffeeco.com, something like that, and
Google Caveman Coffee.
Yes, and use the promo code Kiltony. Save, I believe, 20%.
Yeah, and if you buy it, take a photo and send it, tag us in it, or tag Tate Fletcher. Tate, that's his company.
Tag Kiltony, tag Tate, and that reminds me, a lot of people have been tagging their brand new candles that have sold out, but they are refilling them. Yes, I'm Dreaming have sold out at damngoodco.com. That is the Damn Good Candle Company, and they are damn good candles. A lot of people have been buying the eucalyptus, a.k.a. my butthole, smell, candle, hinge me, I'm dreaming, damngoodco.com for that. Other things are happening too. But we're here for Kiltony. It's an exciting time.
And do you know if because we're going to be in Miami next month, I think 31st or 30th or something like that. Do you know if those shows are sold out, or did they just take the tickets from when they were sold out earlier?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think they're sold out.
We're going to be there in a month or a little over a month.
That's true. And in Austin, we're going to be in Boston and Houston, Texas, doing 4 Kiltonys in Houston on the 20th. That's exciting. Dallas, the 27th. Fort Worth, the 28th and 29th. Some of these are stand-up shows, by the way, to get them all confused, which is Kiltony and which isn't, so just Google it. Actually, no, you can go to TonyHinchcliffe.com. I've completely revamped my website, finally.
Yeah, there's a little button you can push to see which ones are stand-up shows and which one are Kiltony shows.
Yeah, there's icons. They make it clean and clear and under control. Salt Lake City in September, Moon Tower in Austin, Texas with Kiltony. That's a big one, September 17th. Toronto at the Queen Elizabeth Theater, September 29th. And then, middle of October, Chaos. It's the road to Kiltony Mania. Bakersfield, Sacramento, and 3 nights in San Francisco.
Yeah.
I'm still scheduled to do Madison Square Garden and Boston Garden in October. That's
On top of all those dates,
Yeah.
where am I gone almost every day in October?
Yeah, and that's my normal schedule is every weekend. So that's very exciting that hopefully in October I'll be back to that.
What are you going to do without having any Vito's pizza?
I'm going to eat it on Mondays. I come back on Mondays and I eat it here. We're still doing Kill Tony on the Monday. We're not missing a Monday through all that chaos. Very exciting stuff. Through all that, I am doing another show, an introspective on roasting called Roast Masterclass, available in my brand new Patreon. In fact, check this out. This is what people get. They're on the highest tier. After 3 months, you get a bumper sticker, proud student of Tony Hinchcliffe's Roast University. Look at that.
You should put that on your Corvette.
Yeah, I do. I have 3 on my Corvette right now. I have bumper stickers all over my Corvette. Anyway, let's get into the show. In a stunning turn of events, there will be no Jeremiah Watkins or Joel Jimenez tonight for relaxation reasons. They're doing their own thing.
Oh, I think my garage.
Oh, no, yeah.
They sound like that, man.
Yeah, it should be interesting to see what the energy of the room is like without those gobbledygooks. Is that the word
I don't
gobbledygook?
think you're allowed to say that anymore.
No, that's the chicken. No, yes, the gobbledygook is the chicken from WWF. By the way, there was a famous character called the gobbledygook. It's a chicken from WWF. They had this big debut. They were teasing for weeks. They're like, "There's this egg, and we don't know what it is." And eventually, it's like one of the all-time worst professional wrestling characters to ever happen. Famously, there was just an egg in the corner of an arena, and then it hatched. Really bad production. If you're really bored, Google it at some point. YouTube that. The gobbledygooker. Actually, that's what it was. The gobbledygooker. Okay, doesn't matter. But we do have one band member that was able to make it. You know her, you love her, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight's band leader, tonight's backbone of the band, and the only person in the band tonight, one of our favorites, the great and powerful Jetski Jesse Johnson. It's the Kill Tony Band. Whoa! Hey! What's up? Hey, what's up? You are a Latina woman?
Hey, I'm Felicia Jimenez. I'm Joel's little sister.
Whoa! Felicia Jimenez. That's awesome. I'm so glad you could make it here.
Yeah, good to be here.
I've never even met you before. What do you do?
I'm a big fan of the show, and I love to skate.
I love that. Okay, Felicia. Yeah, you're going to be carrying the weight of all 3 band members tonight, so this is exciting for you to be here. Your brother couldn't make it.
Yeah.
We'll explain why on a different episode of the show. And it's exciting stuff. But so Felicia, very good.
Heck 10.
Heck yeah, you skateboard.
Yeah, I love it.
You've been doing that your whole life?
Yeah, right out the womb. Just flipped an ollie out of that pussy. It was sick.
So here we go. We got Felicia Jimenez, and let's start the show. Let's just get right into it. Our first submission comes from Drew Williamson. So here's a minute from Drew. Here's Drew Williamson. I'll be playing the drums in a minute.
Perfect.
Here's Drew, everybody.
Hello, I'm Spaceman V. Willie, coming to you live from space. I like to write jokes and leave them floating around the capsule on Post-its. Oh, hang on a second. Let me fix something on the camera. Give me a second here. Hang on. Get it. Get down. Okay. Alright. Back to the jokes. I'm so dope. I have Puma insurance. Let's try this one here. I'm very white. When I first started NWA, I took it straight to the police. Oh, let's try this one back here. I'm worried there might be inbreeding in my family. My mom keeps calling me Aunt Amy. Let's try this one back here. I'm so old I fall asleep during porn searches. And that's actually true. That's kind of true. Okay, I got one more joke. And, oh, great. The aliens are here again.
That is awesome. Williamson, what an awesome creative submission.
That was awesome.
Sick.
Oh, great. I'm so glad to hear that.
I love that. There was literally like 5 times during that in which I'm like, there's no way, right? Like it kept getting me. Like I'm looking at the floating pieces of paper. My goodness.
Yeah, actually, I've been watching a lot of the space station footage. They have it streaming on YouTube, and I just go to bed with it because it's so peaceful. It's just like no sounds, just like small breathing sounds. That was awesome, man. Great job.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
What part of Oregon or Eastern Washington are you
What kind of bike do you have?
phoning in from? San Francisco. It's either San Francisco or north of there. Am I correct?
I have a New York City, Queens, New York. Wow, I know I'm kind of a loop. Yeah.
Okay. So you're in
I
the
own a
Central
folding
City.
bike.
Floating
Yes,
bike?
I'm in Queens, New York. I'm just outside of the city.
Wow, that is incredible. I have never seen anyone from Queens that looks like they're building multiple bombs. Living a normal life.
I hate to admit it, but if anything's gadget oriented, it's coming out of this front 10 by 12 of my apartment right now. So,
Heck yeah, man.
yeah.
Do you keep the green screen up all year long? Is that do you like YouTube videos or something? Or?
Well, it's just incredible to be on the show, guys. But I actually appeared at the Gramercy show with Mark Norman, and I was second, and it has changed me
Oh, how did
ever
it
since
change?
I was on. Well, I was on a path of about 6 months. I caught up with you guys over the previous winter. And I've been sitting and writing jokes and trying to think of entertainment stuff. And as soon as the quarantine hit, I dove in all the way as I could. And I'm developing with friends and brothers a podcast, Possible. And I've just been diving into green screening because all my programs let it work. So I've always wanted to do, and I've been writing music for years. I've been wanting, so on this quarantine, I thought of a big project for me to do at the house is just to make music videos of all the songs that I like. So I've been going down the list, trying to figure out what I want to do. And naturally, you guys announced send videos, and that's all I do now. It's like a part-time job now, and you guys are the best. I would say I'm pretty close to super fan, and
Well,
yeah, guys, keep it up though.
You've gotten so good at that, man. I mean, that's incredible for someone that just started doing that to have a submission like that. Again, it was only for about a half a second because I'm a very, very smart, aware human, but you kept getting me. Like, I'm like, there's no fucking way this guy's, because it's also somewhat of a possibility. There's a chance that perhaps an astronaut, who I guarantee if there's any astronauts that listen to podcasts, I guarantee Rogan would be one of them, and maybe there's a trickle-down effect there. Part of the Rogan family.
And I've done a lot of green screen stuff, and you had a really good, like, it was very believable. Like, I couldn't see the lines, your lighting was perfect and everything like that.
Ironing, 100% ironing.
Okay.
I have the iron for that, and it's just being tricky with the lighting and everything. But yeah, it works really well. I suggest everyone who does Zoom to just turn on green screen stuff. You can
Yeah, Bill Nye, the green screen guy.
I gotta say, earlier before the show, Gage told me one of the submissions was super nerdy, and I just can't wait to see who that was.
It's interesting to me. One thing that you said here really stood out to me, which is you said that you've dived into writing a lot, which I find interesting. And it's I found that a lot of conversations with people throughout this thing is like, yeah, I just started writing. I just always wanted to do that, and it's interesting because all the people that haven't done a lot of stand-up are now writing like maniacs through this time. And all the people with experience that have been doing it forever are at a complete blockade. Like, you know, I can write roast jokes and I can write screenplays or show ideas or jokes. But when it comes to my stand-up comedy, my process is starting with the simplest, shortest form of the idea, trying that on stage, and then tagging that from on stage. So I literally almost have completely nothing compared to, I mean, I have things that I have to try, but nothing that I believe in whatsoever at all until I try it, because that's step 2 of my process.
That's what is so, it's amazingly scary. I mean, just emailing a simple 1-minute video is like enormous for me. So it's
I got offered.
I'm enjoying it.
I got offered to do a spot this week at a rural comedy club, and I was thinking, is it even possible to do any of my old bits anymore? Because it seems like you have to talk about more of what's going on now. You can't just be like, I'm just going to act like everything's normal. Like, it's weird. I kind of want to try it because I have been writing, but I also, it feels like everybody's, I just wanted to know if like all the comics are just going to be all talking about the same shit, and then you're just going to be like, this is.
Well, I mean, you have to decide whether you want to be topical on that or be a distraction from that.
Yeah.
I just want to skate, man.
That's it. Alicia don't give a fuck. So, Drew, what were you doing for work before all of this started?
So I'm a stagehand on Broadway, and I work backstage. And I've been in theater since college, so since about 1990. And I've mostly done construction, backstage work, and backstage prep for regional theater around the St. Louis area. My wife and I, both being in theater, decided to make the leap to New York, and we've been here for 16 years now.
You work on any big Broadway productions that we would know about?
Book of Mormon.
Hey, that's so wild. How long have you been working on that?
Approximately 3.5 years. So we had a small talk about that when I went on the show last summer.
Okay.
Yeah, because we found out that Tony was up for the role of the main guy.
At one point, yes.
Right.
Greatest all-time, one of the silliest stories I have up my sleeve in this crazy, crazy life.
I'd love to hear. I sent a song I'd love you guys to hear. If you guys are willing to put up another minute.
Absolutely. Why not? You've taken us to outer space. Let's see what's next.
The Bar Hike Bench song, if they can pull that up. My wife asked me what I wanted for my birthday, and I said, I want a bar hike couch. I want a bar hike couch. Not a short couch, but a bar hike couch. Not a short couch, but a bar hike couch. I'm gonna put it in the bar hike. Kitchen table is full and it's all right. Kinda like a bar stool, but it's a freaking couch. I can smell that nigga's bar hike couch. BK freaking bar hike couch. BK freaking bar hike couch. I want bar hike couch.
Okay. Oh my God! Why would you do that to yourself?
That sounded like Bill Nye, like rapping about like his project.
He's been doing comedy for 9 minutes. He's already trying to tell himself off here.
Right.
If I can just do one more thing, if you could play the worst song of all time for you. So one last thing I think you're gonna love. I think a big part of comedy, from what I read, is leaving them on a big laugh.
That's actually one of those songs that would go really good if you had a music video, though. Like it'd be perfect for like a music video.
Yeah. So that song came up just the past couple days. And I just decided to throw it on, put it on, and you guys called me tonight. So I was planning another Kill Tony minute, and I was seeing what the first one was going to do. So anyway.
Oh man,
That was awesome, man.
Drew, I demand that you submit again soon.
Please.
We gotta put him on the auto roll. However much longer of these studio sessions we have, him, Manolo, and the other guy. You remember that other guy? He's thrilled being called the other guy right now. Moment to shine. But anyway, but make sure you're patient. Stay creative. Don't just rush it. We don't want to just see your another music video next week.
Okay. All right.
I like your style, Drew. Thank you so much for your submission. So cool.
Thank you guys. Stay in touch.
Drew Williamson, everyone. There he goes. He's on SoundCloud. For those of you that liked his song, go follow him on SoundCloud. Which reminds me, while we're talking about music apps, now is a great time to make sure that, you know, if you're on Spotify, subscribe to Kill Tony on Spotify.
Get used to it.
Yes. Get used to
Never know what the
listening
future's going to hold.
over there. That anything can happen in the future, and if you subscribe now on Spotify, you might be ahead of the curve. Also, make sure that you go to YouTube and subscribe there. We're so close to 100,000 followers on YouTube. It's crazy. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, your next submission comes from a young lady named Cassidy Weegar. Cassidy Weegar, here we go.
I told my husband that if he dies first, I'm going to have to keep his corpse in a deep freezer beside our bed. So nothing weird, just a little fucking every once in a while. The best unsolicited dick pic I've ever received was from a 55-year-old vacuum salesman. He was laying on his bed seductively and had just come all over himself. I had no choice but to Photoshop my sister into there to make it look like she was sucking his dick. This leads to the worst unsolicited dick pic I've ever received. It was of my sister sucking her boyfriend's dick, followed by a video. Now, the video, 2 out of 10. Production quality, shit. Looked like dead fish within the blowjob. She does not have a career porn anytime soon, but I give her credit for even trying. When I asked her why she sent that to me, she said just because she could. Which leads me to vowing to send her a video of me fucking corpse of my husband.
Wow. There's a lot there. There's a lot there. Hello, Cassidy. How are you?
I'm well, how are you?
Good, good. You're the first person to send a submission while laying down on a picnic table.
They're the best blankets.
Guess so. Heck yeah. So, Cassidy, have you ever done stand-up before?
Never.
Where are you at?
I'm from Calgary.
Oh, okay. Heck yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. They have their internet in Calgary is Canadian. It's apologetic.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have something to do with sound.
What do you do in Calgary? What do you do for work? You're the wife of an oil miner?
No, he works restoration. I'm a stay-at-home wife right now.
Oh, stay-at-home wife. Do you have kids?
No.
You're just a stay-at-home wife? What does that mean? You're
She's a lazy bitch.
a do-nothing Canadian?
I clean the fucking house.
You what?
I clean the house.
Yeah, you know who else can clean the house is a maid if you got a job.
Well, I've ever COVID.
Oh, because of COVID. How about before COVID? What were you doing before COVID?
Nothing.
Oh my gosh. What is up with you? Are you
That was just part of the job, but they called me the day before I was supposed to start and canceled it because of the whole pandemic. So,
Well, they must have found out about your work ethic.
you know, it is what it is.
What, have you ever worked? Have you ever had a job?
Yeah, I used to work at a liquor store for the oil field.
Actually, Felicia Jimenez once worked at a liquor store. Is that true?
You told me.
Wow. Can you guess which cast member spent 15 years at Second City?
Back to you in the studio.
Hey, wow, you really are a Jimenez. Really roll with the punches. No, it's good. Oh, he does do that. That's so funny. That's what he does when he flickers out. And then he grabs the mic.
So, you seem pretty nervous. Are you locked in a basement? Just blink twice and you're safe.
I can't feel my arms right now.
Let me ask you this. Is your husband insecure? Does he not want you to work because maybe he's afraid you'll meet someone there or something?
No, I should ask him.
Ah, you see that? That's a little fucking, that's a
I
good,
just lost the hitter.
You get a lot what?
Oh, he'll watch later. He'll find out.
Oh, okay. All right, good. I don't want to get you all beat up over there. I know those guys in Calgary can get a little rough. Hello. Hello, my darling. Hello, my baby. Hello, my sugar pie. With pizza's on a bagel, you can have pizza. Okay. So, Cassidy, you said that you would freeze your husband, keep him next to your bed, and have sex with him still. Why would you do that?
Well, I'm assuming I'm gonna be really old with guys, so why even bother to go find like another old guy? They're gonna be on death's door anyways.
Yeah, don't you want a new dick though? I mean, now's your chance.
Why?
If he dies, you'd have to get a job, wouldn't you?
Maybe.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure if you fuck a frozen dick, your pussy's gonna get stuck to it like that kid in the
That's
Christmas story.
Yeah, frozen dick, the old cocksuckle.
I'm old and he's.
What do you think's the most Canadian thing about you? Other than the amount of vitamin D you have running through your veins right now. Very pale,
Yeah.
Snow White.
I'm from like near the Northwest Territories, so.
Are there bears around where you live? You see them a lot?
Well, I seen a grizzly bear the other day.
Wow, yes, that would qualify as exactly what I'm talking about, 100%. What was the grizzly bear doing?
Just eating some berries, like they do.
I love she's talking to me like I'm an
We don't see.
Right.
We've never seen a bear in
What
our
do you
life.
mean there? You don't have the grizzly bears there in Los Angeles? I heard they've been really causing a storm. They've been looting.
That's why they're called bears. They eat all those berries.
That's true. That's why they're called bears. Do you have any Yogi Bear? Yeah, they just got that up there, didn't they? Do you have any pets? Do you have any animals there?
Yeah, I've got 2 dogs.
2 dogs. What are their names?
Lucy and Nacho.
Whoa, can we see Nacho?
Yeah, are they around?
Where's Nacho?
They in another room? Okay.
Good dogs.
They do. That's how you get a Canadian dog to come to you.
Hey, come here. Come on now. Hey, Nacho. Come on, Nacho. What you doing?
Jesus.
Oh my God, they're out there with the bear.
Oh my,
See, I don't know.
oh my
Wow,
goodness.
and dogs, both dogs hate you.
They're stay-at-home dogs.
Yeah.
Cassidy, what's an incredible fun fact that would shock us about you or your life? Some perhaps special skill or talent or story or something or traumatic experience that has happened to you at some point or something compelling?
Well, my whole life's been a traumatic experience, essentially. But when I was working at the bar, I went to change the toilet paper once, and I walked in on one of my clients, like, air drying her vagina with a hand dryer. She had nothing on her.
Why was she doing that?
Because they didn't have toilet paper installed.
Oh, I got you. I got you.
Duh.
Air drying for the China. With, yeah, that's like Canadian 9/11 right there. That's like the biggest story in Georgia. You hear about the time they ran out of toilet paper up at the bar on Poughkeepsie Street, and the lady had to air dry her vagina.
What would happen if you got it, made a good seal on the vagina and the pussy lips and turned it on? Would it fill up?
What the fuck? What the fuck, man? For 1 week you're asking about if you guys like loose assholes.
Would it stop?
No, it wouldn't fill up the vagina. What do you think? It's like a hot air balloon? No, but what do you think they're gonna fly away?
Would the hair dryer just start backing up, or would it would have to go somewhere?
It would just be the biggest queef of all time. It would just be Queef City. Oh, Red Man, you already used your fart? You're only 34 minutes into the episode.
I'm excited.
You really blew your queef. All right. Well, Cassidy, fun times. Thank you for your submission. And, absolutely. You have a great charisma to you. You're very it's like if Taylor Swift, didn't have talent. You know what I mean? It's like a Canadian Taylor Swift.
Well, thank you, I guess.
All right, Cassidy. Seriously, thank you so much, and we'll see you hopefully next time we're in Calgary. There goes Cassidy Weeger, everybody. Thank you, Cassidy. Bye.
Those dogs are gonna get beat.
Is it so weird when you like do any kind of slightest mean thing to somebody on video? They're just sitting there going, "Well, thanks."
Literally my least favorite thing in the world. We have found out completely that I do not like making fun of people via the internet. There is no reward, no risk. But anyway, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, one of our regulars, a brilliant, brilliant mind, a beautiful face, the one, the only, William Montgomery is here. Hi, William.
Mario, you want to watch me fuck her? Give me $1,000.
Is that her? Is that the girl? Is that Erica? I've never seen her before. Is that what she looks like?
She's terrifying.
What are you talking about?
That's great. It's great to be hanging out with Russell Brand during this time. You are the least quarantining person I've ever fucking seen through this whole thing, William.
He's a motherfucker, dude. I've been sick as a motherfucker, dude.
You went back to work this week, huh?
Yeah, you can say that.
Tell us about it.
What are you doing?
Tell us about how work was this week, William.
Yeah, there was a bunch of people watching The Color Purple. I don't like that movie.
Oh my goodness. That reminds me.
You're the man on that one.
You still have
Okra? Or like okra? I like fried okra.
Wow. I think you're the first person to ever make an Oprah joke in the
Hey,
history.
Red Man, you told me to say that. Come on, man. Take credit for that.
Well, that was 25 years ago when the movie came out.
Red Man.
But William, I will say,
Let's get it down here. You don't like blacks.
okay, all right, very, very compelling.
Well,
No, you didn't.
looking for
Oh my goodness gracious, William, I love your Sting defund the police joke. I absolutely love your George Floyd's money is worth more than ever. You have created two amazing George Floyd jokes about his money. That is very, very cool that you've done that.
Yeah, it's a part. I mean, there's all these protests going on. I think people forget the real reason why the cops killed him. He was in there. He was in counterfeit money.
This is.
I'm not kidding. My dad uses counterfeit money.
I know. I was gonna say you're kidding too. I'm glad you.
I'm cool with that.
Very good. Absolutely, William. That's good.
I'm really cool with that. How have y'all been doing?
We're good. And I do wonder, when comedy clubs do open back up, if there's jokes like what William is talking about, subject matter.
I thought you were gonna say don't let William in.
If clubs are going to be like, hey, no jokes.
What you just hate, man?
Because you're so angry.
All right.
Fuck with me. Yeah, yes.
I can tell.
That guy last week talking about him with my girlfriend. Yeah. Hey, news to the guy. I have a crush on him. I like how he looks.
What's happening? What's the
how that guy looks.
what's the unfunny Englishman spraying on you?
Yeah, bad acting school in every country, huh?
My goodness! Wow. What you guys thought?
That guy's worse than your girlfriend.
Yeah, dude.
Oh my gosh, funny one. You did?
Thank you, but except for last one.
It's incredible how dark it has gotten behind you since we started this phone call a few minutes ago.
It is. Literally.
All right, William Montgomery, with another new submission. Is there anything else crazy we should know about or talk
I
about?
like the Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, what do you like about them?
Leonardo. Wait, Leonardo, where's your mom?
Okay, there he goes. William Montgomery, everybody. Thank you, William. There you go. We love you, William. Some what? Whoa! Jesus. All right, let's roll right into it. Ladies and gentlemen, here's Patrick Fairchild. Yes, Patrick Fairchild.
As you guys know, I'm a hardcore Christian, so I started a taxi service to and from heaven. It'll be called Jesus Christ Uber Star. Every time I watch Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, I seriously consider adopting a small Filipino boy to help me navigate the jungle safely. I will never forgive you for this! That's an impression of me at 9 years old, after getting skipped 3 times in a row by my father in a game of Uno. Just a little update. I recently moved to Tupelo, Mississippi with my Aunt Carol. I've been squatting in an abandoned house on Elm Street. To be honest, it's been a nightmare. That's probably my best joke. You guys think I should get this checked out?
Whoa! Wow! Oh, damn. Look at this. Fucking the real William Montgomery.
Thank God. That was weird.
Yeah, I just wanted to apologize for all the racist stuff I just said. It wasn't really me.
It's incredible, and yet it has gotten even darker behind you since the last time I talked to you.
Well, I like this one better.
Yeah.
How far do you live from Los Angeles? We'd really like to switch you out. We could.
We're like Fresh Prince. No one will notice.
Yeah.
Like when the mom's
Are you really in Mississippi?
No, I'm in Lawrenceville, Georgia.
Oh, okay. All right, that's where you're born and raised?
Raised. I was actually in Canada.
Canada, another. So are you have dual citizenship?
I do. My parents were doing mission work at the time, so I was on there for like years, but I don't get that. That's
Oh,
pretty
that's
dope.
great. That's great. You should go up there and have one of those free doctors check out that lesion on
No,
your
that's a
chest.
third nipple, right?
Is that a third
No, it was actually something I did get checked by a doctor, a spot that I had, but just a keloid after getting pulled out. So it's just how I scar, I guess.
Wow. Incredible. What do you do for work?
I work for a tech company that we do like monitor and control systems for broadcasting equipment. So CNN, ABC, everybody, all the equipment they use to send their signals to satellites and stuff we monitor and allow them to control it from one interface.
Wow.
Give us some of that.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah. Well, we just got bought by a company last year that has a global fiber network. And so a lot of the remote production that's been going on in the big broadcasting companies has been using our hardware and software. So we did the NFL draft, how they had all the fans from each team from all over the world. They all had one of our boxes in their house, so it was pretty cool.
Wow. That's cool. Incredible. What's your living situation there in Georgia?
I own a house out in the woods.
Incredible. How far away from civilization are you? How deep in the woods are we talking?
I'm probably 45 minutes north of Atlanta.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, so not too far, but
Do a little rocking chair action for us. Yeah, you're on your porch, Georgia, on a rocking chair.
45 minutes north of Atlanta. So, like, in your neighborhood, what are the types of different races do you see with human beings?
well, I
If
live
you
in a county.
consider other races human beings, that is. That's it.
Of course they do. Unless they're dicks, you know.
Right.
But well, we live in a county that's actually pretty broad. There's a lot of East Indian people, a lot of Hispanic people. So a lot of the schools represent. Yeah. A lot of the schools represent, like tons and tons of different places. But you get far enough away from the crowds of people, and you get into the country a little bit.
How you been surviving this quarantine? You been doing anything special or new hobbies or anything, or just still working a normal life?
Well, I just had a baby at the end of last year, so right now I'm a stay-at-home dad that still works 40 hours a week at my job. While my
Wow,
wife
you
goes
see
to
that?
school.
Someone tell that stay-at-home wife how you do it. Yeah, this guy's working and being a father, and he's a stay-at-home guy.
And he's Canadian.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah, we don't tell too many people out here that.
right? Yeah. You want them to respect you. You want them to respect you.
But no, I did pick up a couple hobbies that I always wanted to do. I bought an Alaskan chainsaw mill, and it's just I cut down a big 8-foot loblolly pine tree in my backyard, and it's a kit that you bolt onto your chainsaw where you can rip your own boards. So I've been making my own lumber.
Oh, badass.
Sick. You make your own boards too?
Yeah, I make my own wood, dude.
Heck yeah. Speaking of chopping down a giant fucking trunk, you can go to bluechew.com and use the promo code KillTony.
How funny is it that he looks like a lumberjack and he is a lumberjack?
It's true.
Right. I had no intent of doing it, and I grew this beard, and all of a sudden I was like, man, I need to chop down some trees and get a diesel truck and start dipping.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know this, but he actually whittled the rocking chair that he's rocking on right now. The whittler. If you're wondering who whittled that,
The ginger whittler.
that's right. Wow. What else should we know about you, Patrick? Any other crazy fun facts about Patrick Fairchild?
Well, I've probably served more jail time than your average white fella.
Ooh, tell us all about that.
Well, I went to college at Georgia Southern University, and there's not a lot to do out there except for get in trouble. So I'm an entrepreneur, so I got onto the street pharmacy market, mainly horticulture, and I got in trouble with a couple bags of stuff that's totally legal where you're sitting.
Oh, Jesus. How long did you spend in jail?
Well, for that first charge, I was 20 years old. I did 90 days in a prison boot camp just for my original. So which was probably like the worst 90 days of my life. But then after that, I got put on 5 years of felony probation and subsequently violated my probation multiple times after that. I got a DUI. that I actually beat in court, but just because I got arrested while I was on probation, I had to do 6 months.
Oh,
Yeah.
fucking for
Yeah. And then a year later, I failed a piss test for marijuana, and they gave me 9.5 months in a prison work camp.
Oh, wow. Look at you. Jeez, oh man, an unsuspecting prisoner. You're like Martha Stewart.
And then a year after that, I'd been on non-reporting probation. They called me the day after New Year's Eve. I had to be in within 4 hours, or they were going to put a warrant out for my arrest. And I called my brother, who was then an attorney, and said, "Hey, you're going to need to fire up some paperwork because I'm about to burn the bottom out of this cup." So I got a better lawyer that time. So I actually got only 7.5 months for that one. But the day I left, my probation ended. I got to keep my first offender's right because I got an attorney every time I violated and said, "I will do your time, but your first offender's right means if you get through all your probation, they don't put a felony on your record." So
God, you would have been better off just selling cocaine.
that's actually what my lawyer said. He said, "All this for weed. You should have just done blow like a grown up."
Wow. Look at that. My goodness. So when you learn
I have
it,
all my rights.
you have any crazy
Yeah, I have all my
prison
rights
stories?
Yeah, I got a lot of them.
It's hard to drop the soap and you never pick it up.
Funny thing is they had Irish Spring soap in jail, so I always did that, and I thought maybe it'd help me just a little bit for some reason. I don't know, give me some good bugs. But I mean, a lot of fights, man. I was at a work camp, so we were in dorms where there was 60 people in each dorm. I was on the bottom of a triple bunk. So there's a lot of people crammed into one room at one time. So every Friday night, like people that had beef throughout the week, like it was Friday Night Lights. So you got young kids, different gangs, mess with each other, like talking shit all week. And then we cook up a bunch of food and sit on the bunks and just bet on people kicking each other's ass.
Shit.
Try and make
Were you a
it fun
good
as
fighter?
possible. My dad was, he still is a high school wrestling coach.
Oh, yeah.
So I never wrestled, but I had plenty of experience getting out of horrible situations.
Your ridiculous advantage in a street fight is any wrestling
I made fun of my dad a lot when I was younger, but then when I got older, I was like, I let him know I appreciated it. But I mean, I did a little over 2 years for all of it, and I got in probably 3 heavy fights. I mean, there was skirmishes, but it was never really anything I was doing. It was just sometimes you feel you don't get too connected to people in there, but you feel if there's a situation where you need to step in, you gotta. Usually it was a white guy, and I hated pulling the white card, but I was 1 out of 4 in a 60-person dorm. So if somebody started getting wailed on, scary thing is like you don't want to help that guy and turn around and there's like 8 dudes about ready to whoop your ass. So you kind of had to pick. So if people didn't deserve it, I would try and put it in there, I guess.
That's wild, man. I can't even imagine.
But now I have the right to vote. I own guns. I got my passports. I got a beautiful wife, little kid, and I got a career. So
Absolutely, you did it.
What's the legality of weed now there?
It's like, it's down to if you're in the city of Atlanta, you can get like a $25 ticket. But outside of the city where I am, I mean, it's still anything over an ounce is a anything of that's a misdemeanor, you're going to jail. And they're talking for like a year.
Oh my goodness gracious. Well, luckily you're out there in the woods. Doesn't seem like it. Too many people that are gonna bother you out there. So congratulations. What an awesome story of fucking survival. You're one of the most you're the most imprisoned Canadian I've ever heard of in my life. You little rebel, you.
Yeah, well, me with no facial hair and no hair on my head, I look very much a skinhead, so that was a little difficult to navigate for quite a while.
Heck yeah. Well, you got it all now. Now you're a more likable version, the most likable version of William Montgomery. This is like if William got sober, got his life together.
Yeah, you need to do like a scared straight with William.
Yeah, that's exactly what we need to do.
The problem is, if I hung out with William, we'd probably get into too much trouble to begin with. Redhead got that fire, man.
That's true. Once they get around each other, it just gets crazy.
Please come to a show if you're ever near one of our shows, though, because that'd be great to have you meet William.
Yeah,
Sure. I'm
Yeah,
positive
I
you
came
can.
out there. I came out there last year, but it wasn't like I went for work for a couple days out of Fox, but I couldn't get there on a Monday. I had to leave on. So I saw Jeremiah at the Comedy Store. I went to the Comedy Store 2 nights in a row, so I wanted to be there, and it was something I always wanted to do. So
Definitely message us and let us know when you're coming next time. We'll set up something fun.
hell yeah, sounds good. I
There he
almost
goes.
put on like a big camo jacket and no shirt, but I didn't want to beat him the whole time. So.
Yeah, right. That makes sense. I get it.
Sounds like a lot of weight to carry.
It is. It's big crocs to fill when doing Williams. All right, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Patrick Fairchild. Great stuff. Thank you. That was great. Yeah, we're flying through it. Let's just keep it moving, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for Rob Callahan. Here's what I need Rob Callahan with his 1-minute submission. Here's Rob.
Before the pandemic started, I decided I was only going to poop at work from now on. I didn't care if it was Friday night. I'm waiting until Monday morning. I'm going to get paid for this shit. That's right, I like to poop at work. One day I was using the luxurious handicap stall of the work bathroom, and the only blind guy from my building came in with a seeing eye dog and stood by the stall door. So I hurried up, I got out of there as quickly as I could, and on my way out I was like, sorry about that. He was like, no problem. So, alright. Could have been worse. But it happened again the very next day. He came in, stood by the handicap stall door, and finished up as quick as I could. And on my way out, I was like, sorry about that. I didn't want him to know it was me again. Yeah, I can be blind too, he doesn't know. Do blind people recognize each other? Imagine 2 blind guys getting in an elevator at the same time. So much in common. No idea. Imagine having to introduce 2 blind guys to each other. I'm not going to be the guy that brings it up.
Awesome. I loved it. Rob Callahan, keeping it interesting, juggling some balls during it with the Kill Tony artwork behind him. I like that. How are you doing, Rob?
Hey guys, I'm great. How are you?
Good, good. You are in the New York area or DC?
Boston.
Boston. Heck yeah. That's
Yeah, I went to
right.
the New York show. I was at the Gramercy with
Awesome.
Big J
That's what I
and Shane
remember.
Gillis.
I remembered where that poster was from, and another incredible piece of Ryan J. Belt artwork. Yeah, that was a fun one. Big J, Shane Gillis, Gramercy Theater. Did you get up that night?
I did, yeah.
Oh, cool. How'd that go? What happened? What did we find out about you?
It was good. See, I have a daughter. She was born when I was 19. Talked about that. Talked about Tom Brady a little bit. Things have changed since then, so I have different feelings about that now.
Right. Indeed. He's a resident of Tampa Bay, Florida.
Yep.
How's your daughter doing?
She's great. She's actually graduating 8th grade today. Start high school.
Wow. Look at that. Look out. She's almost in Red Band's age range.
Is there even high school now? You're the high school. Your place is the high school, right? Schools are now.
It's online.
Yeah, it's questionable. I don't even know. They haven't even told me yet. I'm not sure what's going to happen.
What do you do for work,
A lot of
Rob?
different theories floating out there. I do records, information management, and more.
Like what kind of records?
Like for like lawyers and clients, paperwork, we file it, make sure that it's findable.
Okay. This guy looks like Ryan J.
That's how
Belt's
you
little
prepare this
brother.
bit.
You have a little brother, Ryan J? No. Oh shit, I offended Ryan. Ryan's mad at me now. Now the picture of me is gonna look like that picture of Joel from a few weeks ago. I love it. So Rob, have you always been Go ahead.
I was just going to say another thing that we talked about last time was I'm a cornhole referee.
Oh, now I remember. That's right. That's how you spark. That's a good way to spark my memory. Not a great many cornhole referees have I dealt with in my life. Wow. So how about the juggling? Is that something that you've always done?
I learned that during the pandemic, took a few days, but yeah, I got pretty good at it.
What else have you learned? Did you started with juggling? You're like, this is something that I've always wanted to do?
No, my wife does it pretty good. She went to like middle school when she was much younger. Plus, maybe that college, you're gonna be a little more stuck with the scripture on it. But I was young and I wanted to do it too.
And they
So,
signed
like,
to
this
the
was
podcast to go
part time
forward.
third.
Wow.
And that deal is up in
My
August.
goodness.
I know somebody else that tried that we were juggling during the pandemic. Like, that's an interesting thing because I've always tried to juggle it and then just given up. I can't even imagine trying to get good at it.
Wait, you tried something and then gave up at it after trying it before getting good at it?
Have you tried to juggle?
Yeah, I mean, sort of.
It's the same thing. You know, just do it a couple times.
Well, it's just one of those things. To me, there's like no reason to get good at it. I don't know. I just have really no interest. Yeah, I have no interest in being able to juggle. Like, I mean, there's just it's wild because in fact it would be a very short list if I could think of it of things that I have less than no interest in learning. I like learning. I like, I'll watch YouTube videos on things and try to learn life hacks and this and that. Juggling would be on that short list of things in which
shops something in Boston. So I don't know if he's gonna come back because Schaub isn't doing the fighter and the kid usually when Callan is out, Schaub will get fake land out or a guest co-host. He's not even doing that. Like today, there's not going to be a fighter and the kid episode. Like I said, I'm one of the very few fighter and the kid patrons, and I get the episodes early before they put them up on YouTube. And there was no episode today, just like there was no episode Tuesday. So Schaub isn't even bothering to do the Fighter and the Kid podcast anymore. So Callan takes too long shooting this. This might be the thing where Schaub just goes, what's the point in even coming back? I haven't done that. And the podcast one deal is over anyway. Now, to Callan. I don't know what this is. Now you try justifying this in the video saying he has to do stuff to pay your bills and he's an actor. I don't know what he's shooting, but it can't possibly be legitimate or having any production value if this is the costume. It can't in any way, shape, or form. Is he just shooting some little spoof thing for his dumb new show? Because this goes into, I think they might be done with the Fighter and the Kid podcast completely now. You gotta remember, Callan shoots his own little thing with Harlan Williams now. You have to remember, Callan has this side business. He'd always talk about, I gotta go work in Idaho. And he has this thing where he writes ads for companies for commercials. I have no idea how successful he is. But he's always said that, and that's based in Idaho. I don't know why it's based in Idaho, but recently he started a podcast about that process and brought in Harlan Williams and all of his openers. Is he just shooting something for that? Because this seems like what it would be for. No legitimate TV or movie show would A, hire Brian because of the allegations, but B, have it look this trash. I mean, what is this? It looks like Wendy said, you're going to be my girlfriend now. I'm not understanding the wig. Why is he dressed like this? Is it worse than when he put on the cow thing and had Schaub whipping him for that little ad spot they were doing for the Fighter and the Kid podcast years ago? But, yeah, I don't even know what to say about this. This is disturbing. This is horrifying. This is pathetic. This is the career is done, Callan. Look, I understand that Callan has to pay alimony every month, $20,000 a month in alimony. That's why, in order to get Brian to return to the fighter and the kid, Schaub had to up his pay from $15,000 a month to $25,000 a month. Because remember, Callan got accused, the left ended a podcast with Sam Tripoli, that conspiracy one, actually successful, even though it was behind the paywall. Then Sean did the podcast with Chappelle Lacey and Malik B. That failed, and in order to get Callan back, he had to bump his pay. But do you really think Schaub is going to keep paying $25,000 a month now that that podcast deal? That podcast one deal is done. This guy puts in no effort, and I think he knows that. That's why Callan is doing this now. But this is horrifying. This is disturbing. Yes, children that are in their teens, and they're gonna see this. Your dad was in the CFR. You're this hard up for money? I don't know, but let me know your thoughts in the comments. What's she saying?
Mayor Vance bringing in the big guns. Well, the story starts by saying the top strategist for LA Mayor Vance's re-election bid is on the campaign. Apparently, they had some strategic differences. Now, Herman had passed 2021, and already he's been replaced by Julie Chavez Rodriguez. She was the campaign manager for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris presidential campaigns in 2024. That's a pretty big gun for a mayor.
Yeah, that's big. That's she's before she's because if she achieves his relatively for incumbent mayor, a Democratic you can see that. Okay, see the break, and we will come out. Do not go away. This is KFI. That is 80.
Rescue teams have been digging with their hands and having equipment to get people trapped in rubble following two powerful earthquakes in Venezuela out. A 7.2 quake yesterday was followed by a 7.5 about a minute later. Collapsing buildings and sending people running into the streets. Natural hazards and earthquakes professor Matthew Blackett says Caracas, the capital city, is densely populated and many of its buildings are 40 or more years old.
Those buildings have been maintenance because of the rest of the last couple of decades, so I fear that the logistic and the services to suffer damage we're seeing.
Acting President Delcy Rodriguez says at least 164 people have been killed and almost 1,000 others are hurt. That massive fire at a cold storage warehouse in Royal Heights is finally out.
Los Angeles Fire Department says they're still on the scene. Last Wednesday, the lineage of logistics building started burning, sending massive flows of black smoke into the air. They will be charged well reported that the massive cold storage warehouse was ruined. Lineage claims the fire was started by
I mean, truly, I do not give literally a flying fuck.
Yeah.
About jugs.
It's like ice skating backwards. I don't care. I wouldn't do that.
Oh, well, you're missing out.
Or ice
You're
cream
missing out. I think you know how to ice skate.
I actually do that.
We gotta see that when it happens. We need the rollerblades, and did you get your electric bicycle yet?
No, I might cancel my order.
Whoa!
Yeah, they're having a lot of problems with the company. People are sending them back and canceling their orders. That they're breaking the people that have it. Some trouble found at Super 73.
Oh my goodness! What a shocking turn of events.
Yeah.
The bicycle.
I drive the scooter. It's really fun.
You do? What kind you got?
Yeah, it's like a 50cc roughhouse.
Oh, cool.
Just got it last month. It's awesome.
A roughhouse is a very tough sounding name.
For a scooter. Yeah, just rock.
30 miles an hour.
Doesn't even have a. Does it make a noise?
Yeah, a little bit.
What does it sound like?
Run.
Really? A scooter sounds like that?
Pretty close, yeah.
This bike I have, it's like a Tesla, or I'm trying to get, it's like a Tesla. It has like instant torque. So it's only supposed to go 20 miles an hour because that's legal, for like street legal. But there's like a little way to hack it so it goes up, really, really fast.
Rob, has anybody ever told you that you look like an angry white woman with a beard?
Like a Karen?
Nobody's smiling angry.
Yeah, it's like a hairy Karen. A Heron. Have you ever called the police on somebody doing something?
No. Are you thinking of that lady with her husband?
Oh, you've only seen one video. Wow, look at that. He's a hard worker indeed, raising his kid out there working, doing it all.
You do look like you could snap at any minute.
Right under the surface.
What makes you angry?
Right now, blonde.
Yeah. Is there anything that we would be surprised that it makes you angry for some reason? A pet peeve of yours?
Oh man, I wish I had thought about this more beforehand. But when I'm on the T, the train here in Boston, people that wear their backpacks. I deal with the train a long time since I got the scooter. It's not a very fun answer, but that does piss me off.
People that wear backpacks.
Yeah,
so crowded.
People that cross their legs. I just want to go be fucking comfortable, but I don't.
You don't want them to cross their legs.
No,
Our problems
it's a lot more safe that way.
Okay, because it's so happy there.
Welcome to another episode of White Juggler Problems. Rob Pallett.
Leg guy, gosh darn backpacks on the train. Why can't you just carry the things in your arms?
All right.
I feel like you have like a hobby, like you have something that you collect, like either comic books or you're into Worldcraft. Or
Yes, I love that you think that you're on to some amazing psychic power.
I see him doing cosplay at Star Wars or something.
I actually don't like Star Wars. I'm one of the few. My friends
Whoa,
like me for that.
buddy, you know what? Loves the Mandalorian. What's
my
the
recent hobby.
Yep.
Right now, I was actually gonna promote my YouTube live stream with my bird feeder. That's what I've been into lately. Get a camera on my bird feeder. Yeah.
Wow.
Damn, Gage told me before the show that there was going to be someone really nerdy on the show. I can't wait to see what it is.
Is it live right now?
Yeah, Rob Callahan on YouTube. It's nighttime now. There's no birds out there.
I want to see this. So you just keep this on all the time, and you're just wasting your internet upload speed for a bird feeder?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, we got a couple of different Wi-Fi connections, so it's fine.
Wow.
I want to see this nighttime video. We're looking it up. I think Gage is.
Fun fact: a bird feeder is something that all the Karens have. Not a lot of people know that. It's the one common thread of all angry white women is a bird feeder. So this also falls into the theory
What
that
up, Zoo?
that you are actually a white woman.
Is disclosure time lapse watching?
I would say no. I thought it was pretty disappointing, to be honest with you. And I don't watch. I mean, like, I've watched maybe a lot of movies in the past, but I don't watch a lot of movies on the stream for the exact reason that happened yesterday, where people come in and I don't want to be rude to them, and I have to be able to focus on the stream. But I'm doing a podcast today, and I had the discussion with the woman yesterday, and I think that she may want to discuss it today. And I was on a podcast on Monday, and people were discussing it, and I hadn't had it and hadn't seen it. And, if I'm like talking about UFO disclosure, well, then the movie Disclosure Day is an important thing to watch. So I started watching it the other day, and then I couldn't really get through it. I was too tired. And then I just rewatched it yesterday. So I've seen it in some ways like a couple times. Not the whole thing a couple times, the whole thing just once. And it is, I'm going to tell you this story because it's like, go see it yourself if you want. It's this strange start where it starts in like a World Wrestling Federation, the World Wrestling Entertainment ring, where these guys are fighting. And there's this random audience member who just like is there watching the match, and somebody like steals his backpack and pulls a gun on him. And they're like, give us what's in the backpack. And he's like, no. And they're like, yes. And then they take it. Then they basically like like there's this strange scene where he's interrogated or something, and his like girlfriend's there. You can tell there's like a lame love story. And then there's the Emily Blunt character, who I think she does a really good job. She's smoking hot, and she speaks like her English, or she's a British actress, but you can't tell that she's British. Her English and her American English is flawless. And she basically is this person who is like greeted by like this bird, and she immediately can speak Russian. When this kind of stuff happens, Zoot, I don't like it in the movie because it's not like super realistic to me, like that an animal will come in and allow you to speak a different language. But anyway, she's there with her boyfriend or husband or something, and she's a meteorologist. So then the story is just like people chasing the guy from the wrestling thing, and it's really like another hour of just bland, boring, nothing really happens. And then there's this like gift that the Emily Blunt character has, where she can like let's say you were to walk up to someone, or she walks up to someone, when they look at her, she can like tell them all kinds of secret stuff about their life that they don't know. Like, I know that you have a daughter, and I know that your wife really likes red velvet cupcakes. Why don't you get some of those on the way home, and with pink sprinkles or purple sprinkles? They'll really like them. And then the cop just, or like the person watching her, they just let her go. She like has this weird, but they don't really explain. Like the movie, I feel, is very poorly explained. So then, towards the end of the movie, literally, this movie's like 2 hours and 20 minutes or something, and they don't talk about aliens aside from one time until the last 2 hours, or until the last 20 minutes, I should say. Like, they don't really talk about aliens. You're thinking like Disclosure Day, there's going to be a mothership. They're going to be talking. Just one moment, Zoot. I think I just cut out. Zoot, can you hear me? Zoot, just one moment. Zoot, can you hear me? Apologies, I just cut out. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Sorry, you just
I did.
Or I wanted to disconnect.
No, I did. Okay, so there's basically like this for the movie's 2 hours and 20 minutes, and for the first 2 hours they mention aliens once. And for it to be a movie about disclosure, you would expect it to be like about alien disclosure or more. It was really like about these gifts that these people were given somehow by aliens or something. So the last 20 minutes is about disclosure. So this woman is like she's a meteorologist who's also trying to be like an anchor on the television as well. So she has access to the news desk. And when like people try to stop her from going to the news desk, she can just like speak different languages to them. Like, where did she get this ability? From the bird that gave it to her, some animal? No one really. It's not really well explained. So then she basically gets on the camera and she's like, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna tell the world about aliens or whatever. And everybody's like, there are some people who come in and are like, no, don't do it. And they're like, shut down like the generator and the backup generator. And somehow this is the thing that doesn't make sense to me. She has some kind of power. There's like all kinds of supernatural stuff that I don't like about it. She has this power that can turn the lights back on and everything. So anyway, she goes and she looks into the camera and she's like, basically like, we're not alone. Aliens are here. Extraterrestrials have been here for a long time. It goes back to some program in the 70s, which is fake, but anyway, it's just for the movie or whatever. And she starts talking about it. And then in the last like 5 minutes, there is an alien that lands and comes into like the sound stage or whatever, the movie set. And it's like an alien that's like pushed in like a wheelchair, and it looks like an alien gray, but it's bigger. It's like maybe 7 feet tall or something. And then it whispers something into some guy's ear. And then the guy tells Emily Blunt's character, and Emily Blunt gets in front of the camera and then says the word listen. And then the movie goes black. So it tells me that, oh, this is just part one of like maybe a 3-part movie or something, but it was highly disappointing. I would say to Steven Spielberg, dog, you put out Jurassic Park, you put out E.T., you put out Close Encounters of the Third Kind, you put out Catch Me If You Can, you put out a lot of bangers, dog.
You just mentioned 2 alien movies that he already made, and he's made War of the Worlds. He didn't make another alien movie.
Well, so
that's not even an alien movie.
Yeah, so he makes bangers, and this movie was just like incredibly disappointing. The people on Monday with whom I was on this podcast, they're like, it's not really about disclosure, it's about other stuff, and I wanted to like it. I really did. I wanted to fucking love this movie, and I wanted to be like, it's got a lot of haters out there, but I actually liked it. I can't say that. I saw it. Even the host who I spoke to yesterday, she's like, have you seen it? And I said that I had, because I'd seen some of it, but I hadn't seen all of it. So I was just listening to what she was saying. And she's like, it's really not like about aliens or disclosure too much until they talk about animals and stuff. And I'm like, okay, so I really had to get into it, but she's right. And the people who saw it are right. It is very disappointing. If I were seeing this in the theater, I would just be like, give me my money back. Like, it was literally like 2.5 out. At points of it, until the last 20 minutes, I was like, this is the worst movie I've ever seen, or one of the worst movies I've ever seen. I'm not engaged. It's not really believable. Like, what makes it not believable? Like, imagine here's a scene. There's this scene where Emily Blunt is in the hospital, and she's like, they're like telling her that she may have, I don't know, like Parkinson's disease or something. And she looks out the window and she sees these guys in government uniforms. And
why do you think Spielberg's?
Hold on, let me finish, and then I'll answer that. So these guys are in black government uniforms. She's in the hospital, and there's a doctor there, and the doctor's explaining to her like all of her signs look normal, but they might do some other testing. And then Emily Blunt's character is like, who are those guys in the black trench coats or whatever? And the doctor's like, they're the FBI. They're gonna be in here once we're done. It's like, that's not how the FBI works. They don't wait for you to get your medical clearance or whatever, your medical diagnosis, and then they come in. They would just be like, we don't have time for your bullshit. We don't care if you have super gonorrhea or whatever that virus, hantavirus or anything like that. We don't care. We're gonna just fuck you up, or we're gonna arrest you, or do whatever. That's how it is in real life. Or like the FBI figures or whatever will have they'll have 2 characters in custody or whatever, and one of the character breaks away and is able to free the other character. It's like, that doesn't work that way. They will just dogpile you and arrest. It's just, and then there's all kinds of stuff that's absolutely fake, where she's driving a car, and this was so fake. She's driving a car at a train intersection, and she's waiting on the train, and somebody comes up behind her and pushes her car into the train, and the train begins dragging her car in one direction, and she's able to climb out of the train in one direction, jump onto the train, and then somehow, some way, or she jumps in between 2 trains and then jumps into another train. It's like, dude, this is I understand that it's Hollywood, and I understand this is a big budget movie, but they could have made this movie for $1 million, easily, in my opinion. it has a huge budget. It had absolutely massive media, like a media tour where Steven Spielberg, who doesn't normally do that much media, was doing it and talking about disclosure and what he knows and everything. And this reminds me of this podcast I was on like a week or two ago, where the person asked me, they're like, do you know who XYZ is? And I'm like, enlighten me, because I didn't really know who that person was. And I had heard the name, but I didn't know exactly who it was. And they're like, oh, they're this they're basically like this kind of small person in the media who said that government came to him, and the government agents came to him and said, hey, you're going to do this movie for or you're going to do a show for NBC, and we're going to leak information to you about how we want this show to go. And if you want to do it, it's going to be really successful. If you don't want to do it, then your career is basically over. I don't know if they threatened him like that, but he's like, I don't want to do it. And so, but it made him think, and it's true, that there's something called predictive programming where perhaps different agencies come to individuals. Steven Spielberg might be one of them. Apparently this happened after Jaws. They saw that Jaws was a big hit, and they were like, hey, we're going to give you information for Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and then eventually E.T.
So if this movie, so the marketing for this film is it's made by Spielberg, and if it wasn't made by Spielberg, it would have bombed.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, and you can't even tell this movie's made by Spielberg because the alien at the end is like kind of, it looks like something that you would get at your local costume store. And it doesn't look like an alien it looks like an alien, but it's bigger than the normal aliens that we see. And if aliens are so powerful and everything, then why is this alien in a wheelchair? Like, like if, I don't know. It's just Emily Blunt, though.
Why did you tell Rosa that I have a girlfriend?
I didn't tell Rosa that you have a girlfriend. Who's your girlfriend?
It sent me on Telegram and it's like, you have a girlfriend?
No, you were in here when the only conversation that I had with him was you were in here, and I said, did you hear that Zoot's getting married to this chick because of her opinion on the moon? That's all, but you were in here. I did not, in a subsequent discussion with him, say, Zoot's really interested in this chick, or no. Zoot, I know your life. You go from girl to girl to girl like once every month, and that's cool. You're like a serial crap. Yeah, you do, dude. You absolutely do. You had the. I can name like 6 girls who.
I just watched the movie she told me to watch.
Oh yeah, how was that?
It's better than the movie that you're describing.
I'm sure. What was the name of the movie?
7 Psychopaths.
And it was good or no?
Yeah, it's about like a screenwriter who's like writing a screenplay about psychopaths, and he's like he has these psychopaths in real life that he's like writing a movie about. Like he knows these psychopaths in real life, and everyone around him is a psychopath.
Okay.
And then there's funny moments in it, but it's like it's like a thriller comedy, but it was made in 2012, so 14 years ago.
Did she watch your movie?
That was Colin Farrell.
Okay.
She will.
She will. Okay, cool. You make a good point.
Probably work. Sorry?
You made a good point about if the Disclosure Day wasn't directed by Steven Spielberg, nobody would like it. And if it didn't have yeah, and Emily Blunt is a beautiful woman, and she looks beautiful in this movie. She's literally the one actor I recognized in the movie. I didn't know anybody else, not a single other person. So it's not like you could even be like, oh, there's a cameo of, I don't know, Will Ferrell in it or something, or Jim Carrey, or there's nothing. Literally, you don't know anybody in it except for Emily Blunt. It's literally like they.
You think it's Spielberg's wife movie?
I haven't seen all his movies, but it's definitely not a banger. And I really feel like they were like, um, look, we're gonna make this a 3-part movie, but we can't let anybody know about it. So, or we're gonna make it a trilogy, but we can't let anybody know that's gonna be a trilogy, or nobody will come out to see it. So let's just we'll keep that quiet, and then like literally how they end the movie, it leads up to a perfect opportunity for a part two. Like they could have literally said to be continued or something, but um I was very disappointed in it. Even the special effects of like the alien ship didn't look like normally what we think of alien ships to look like. Um, they're just very fake as well, very boring. Um, I kept looking at how much time was left. Like this felt like homework, or it felt like a punishment, and that's not how movies should feel. So, um,
do you think like the people working on the film thought it was better than it was because they were trying to set up a sequel, or do you think they're just trying to make money?
it seemed like a money grab, which these people don't need. They're all very wealthy. It was, but do I think overall that it was positive to? Well, to answer your question, do I think the people working on it felt like it was just a money grab? Um, I think that somebody said, "Hey, we need a movie called Disclosure Day. We're gonna have Steven Spielberg. We're gonna give him a bag to direct it, and we need like at least one actor in it who's gonna put asses in the seats. So we'll put Emily Blunt in it, and then everybody."
He came up with the story.
That's who
He
I.
didn't write the movie, but he came up with the story.
Okay, the story sucks. I would tell him that if he were sitting on my bed with me right now, I would say, "Dog, your story sucks. You know what would be a cool story if you it was like anything but that." I'm not a big supernatural fan, like where people have like special powers. I'm just not. I like realism, like intense realism in movies is really special to me. So I would say to him like, how are these birds talking to people? And how is it that the aliens are like you only bring them in at the end, and it's just like one alien, and nobody's like freaking out that there's an alien in a movie studio or in like a television studio? Like nobody's like, "Dog, this is the wildest thing I've ever seen. There is literally an alien in a wheelchair who just made it through these double doors, and it's now like he I would there was just no reaction out of anybody. So um it would,
Yeah, because everyone would be like, "That's just AI."
or something. I would though. Oh, another like thing that I thought was totally um just inaccurate or misleading. When Emily Blunt's character goes on camera to tell like the local news that aliens are real or whatever, the producers like, "We got to get this to New York," and then they show it to the people in New York, and then it spreads across the whole world like within like 10 minutes. Like everybody's watching this news program, and it's like the CIA does not allow that stuff to happen. They have like overarching uh view of what's going on in the media, and they would just shut down any kind of broadcast like that went rogue, so to
So let
speak.
me ask you another question.
Hit me with this.
Do you think Spielberg's just like, "I'm too old for this shit. I should be retired right now," and just doesn't give a shit?
uh I think that he is working on his legacy now, and disclosure is going to happen. I was asked about this on Monday, that a question came in from Croatia, and somebody was like, to Rabbi, like, when is disclosure going to happen? And I said, well, it's basically like 80 years old at this point, and we've gone from like 0 people believing that aliens are here, or a small amount, maybe 5% or 10%, to now it's more than 50%. So if you let that continue to marinate, and it's growing faster and faster, uh, it's just a matter of time until the general populace understands that we're not alone. And I think Steven Spielberg wants to be seen as a leader in that process. So it's more about his legacy. But I will say this. I would say this to Steven Spielberg. Even though it's a dog shit movie, I think it was positive to the movement of disclosure because you do talk about aliens. There were some talks about. There's three discussions on previous crashed aliens, which was really interesting. I did learn something from it. There's a crash in Pennsylvania in 1967 that allegedly that is like totally covered up. And it was just like from that point it was beneficial, but it was just fake how it all happened, and I just didn't really enjoy that very much. Like, okay, here's a good question. Here's a really good question. If there were an alien in a television studio with you, wouldn't you point the camera at the alien? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You'd be like, hey, we're going to interview this alien or whatever. Instead of just allowing that, I understand maybe they weren't under their own power. I can't stand movies that there's no explanation and you're just supposed to like assume why people act the way that they do. I like movies with explanation that are like clear. I don't like things like revealed at the end. Oh, that's why that person did that. Like, no, because then the whole movie I'm thinking, why is this person making such a stupid decision? And then it takes me out of the movie. So would I see it again? Absolutely not. Would I am I glad I saw it? Yeah, because now I know what these people are talking about, and I might have to talk about it in a little bit. The podcast that I'm doing later today is a live podcast, which I'm because podcasts a lot of times have like technical issues and stuff that happen, and but I mean I'm basically doing a live podcast 24/7, so if anything I should be used to it. But I do like when podcast hosts are like, we're recording this and we're going to upload it on whatever day, and then I'm ready to be able to like download it and re-upload it to all my streams. So I'm excited to do it. I had another one scheduled today, but the guy emailed me this morning and was like, hey, can we do it Tuesday? I got sick after some kind of family vacation or something, so I'm like, yeah, that's fine. And what else? I've got another one tomorrow. So I've just kind of been locking. Oh, and maybe on Monday as well. So my schedule is one today, one Friday, one Monday, one Tuesday, I think, for right now. And then I've got some lined up for July as well. But this is what I do, and I think it's a good strategy. Oh, the one that I have today, though, if the woman let me, I could talk for 20 hours on this stuff. It's like, well, how do you know how much you can talk about? I spent like 10 hours yesterday just putting documents together and talking points about them. Because she was like, she's a nice woman. She came in and she's like we just did this technical run through, which I wasn't really thrilled about doing, but I'm glad we did because we were able to clear up some things really well. And she's like, okay, so can we talk about like the Nephilim? And I'm like, yeah, sure. And then we're like the Anunnaki, and I'm like, yeah, sure. And then she's like, what about SSP? And I hate when people use acronyms that are not everybody uses. And I'm like, and she's like, Secret Space Program. Exactly. I'm like, and she's like, Secret Space Program. I'm like, oh yeah, sure. And then she's like, okay, can we talk about the moon? You know, I can talk about the moon for hours, dog. Yeah. And then she's like, and then you said something, and then she like went through my.
So that was like some ex-Scientology, like what they call themselves.
Okay, maybe, but this is just Secret Space Program. And then I'm like, but I'd like to talk about my project too and futurology. So he's like, oh yeah, sure. Well, each one of those discussions can be like 30 minutes to, an hour at least. And so we've got 2 hours scheduled, but I told her I can go as long as necessary, which is now true. I didn't realize I had another podcast scheduled, but it got delayed. It got rescheduled. So I can go all day today if she needs. And she like if I'm on a podcast, the way that I like to be on a podcast, and this is just different than some people, but let me do my introduction and then just let me talk. Let me go. If you want it to be a conversation, that's okay. But then I can't get any momentum going and can't get into the details and the topics. At the end of each section, if you have a question, let's do it. Let's go through it. I'll answer everything that you can, and anything that we can't answer, we're going to look up. We're going to get the right answer to as accurate as possible. But what is difficult is when I'm doing a podcast and I'm talking, and then I keep getting interrupted just for whatever reason. But I've got to say, the podcast hosts with whom I've done a podcast, I haven't had one of them that I felt like did not let me go to some extent. So that's good. All right. Did you do stand up on Wednesday?
Yeah, I did.
How did it go?
I was just testing stuff for Monday. I need to commit. People were like, "Oh, you need to commit to like what you were saying." And I was just like, "This is going to be too controversial for me to say," and I said that on stage. But I was talking about like how Elon should have. He said that he wasn't a Nazi.
Okay.
Because he wasn't funded by the SPLC or something. He said he can't be a Nazi if he wasn't funded by the SPLC. And I said he should have just tweeted "I am a Nazi" and that's what I wanted to go to Epstein's Island so I could get rid of the pedo allegations. And I said, if you're a billionaire, you would choose to be a Nazi or a pedophile.
Okay. And I bet nobody laughed at it.
No, people laughed at that one. And then I said, then I made a joke about Rihanna going to P. Diddy parties and how like if you found out, I don't blame Chris Brown if I found out my girlfriend was going to P. Diddy parties.
Oh man, you're swinging and missing here, dog. I'd stick with your Tweety Bird stuff.
Yeah, it was a bit controversial one.
Yeah, well, I mean, at least
people were laughing.
Not huge amounts of people. There's no way huge amounts of people thought that stuff was funny.
No, it was a small crowd. I was just testing it.
Okay. In my opinion,
I also said Kanye. I also made some Kanye jokes about how the Nazi allegations didn't hurt his career at all.
Dog, you got to have some other jokes. You go to the same barrel of the same like 3 topics. Your Tweety Bird joke?
No,
dog, you always talk about Kanye West.
Yeah.
And you always talk about Epstein Island. Since
the Tweety Bird one?
Yeah, the Tweety Bird one is in my opinion your best joke that I've heard you say, because it's funny. It's a little more innocent than any of your other stuff. All your other stuff is so you take such big risks, and I'm not saying it's not good to take risks as a comedian, but like the risks have to have payoff. And I think that if you're able as a comedian, look, if you have 100 people in a room, you want to make 90 of them laugh as opposed to 10 of them laugh. That's just about being a comedian. Now, I know you, on the other hand, are like, I'd rather make 10 people really think about it and really laugh hard and love me as a comic than 90% of people. That's cool, but that's not how successful comics work. Successful comics recognize if I can make 50% of the crowd laugh with this joke, it's a winner. If not 50% laugh, then it's a loser.
I was just, at the end of the day, it was like Wednesday nights, the small crowd is just practicing. I don't give a shit about Monday nights. I take more seriously.
Let me ask you this. I want to challenge you. I want you to come up with a joke on these topics. And so maybe if I give you something, like just as a challenge, I want you to come up with a joke, 3 different jokes by the next time you come in here. You can do it. You make jokes really quickly. A joke on Mickey Mouse, but it can't be anything sexual or violent or anything like that. Just something creative on Mickey Mouse. It could be on his name. It could be on his yellow shoes. It could be on the fact that he used to be drawn with a tail, but he's no longer drawn with a tail, and nobody talks about what happened to Mickey Mouse's tail or whatever. So Mickey Mouse is one of them.
Did he have a tail?
He used to, but then they removed it, and nobody talks about it. So you could have a joke about that. Why doesn't anybody talk about Mickey Mouse's tail? This is like a big event. I don't remember Mickey Mouse going in for surgery for tail removal. Do you?
He wears clothes now. He wears clothes now, but he didn't wear clothes like that.
Okay, so then nobody talks about having Mickey Mouse be naked, and at what point did he decide to go from this nudist lifestyle to a clothed lifestyle? Like, that's a funny thing. Another funny thing is Mickey Mouse wears pants with 2 large white circles on them. Like, who's Mickey Mouse's stylist who thought, Mickey, the red pants are great, but what would really make these look even better is if we put 2 large vertical ovals on them. That's funny. But you come up with your own stuff. I want one on Mickey Mouse. I want one on just dogs in any way. Just, you have a dog, you observe dog behavior, canine behavior all the time. And I want one on the weather. Those 3 things. Do you think you could do it by the next time you come in here?
Yeah.
Excellent. And these are jokes that have to be PG-13. So they can't be like because I'm challenging you.
Is this a language, right?
What'd you say?
Why do you never see Eskimos on holidays?
I don't know, Zoo. Why don't you ever see Eskimos on holidays?
I mean, that's the question. Have you ever seen an Eskimo in, like, what do they wear? Do they like have summer clothes? Like, where do they get the summer clothes from?
That's a great joke, Zoo. That's a great joke. Where do they store it? Do they have a special part of the igloo or hut, yurt, or whatever that is just for, filled with Hawaiian shirts and Bahama shorts or whatever? Bermuda shorts? How do they schedule it? Like, is there an indigenous travel agency? And do you think they ever just go to other cold places, or do you think they always go to warm places? That's a good joke, though. What do they wear on what does an Eskimo wear on vacation? Or Inuit or Yupik person. That's a funny joke. Now that's cute and it's innocent and it's funny and it's not really long and doesn't involve you know, the worst parts of the world. People go to comedy generally to forget about all the bad shit that's going on in the world. And if you can bring an idea into their head, like, where do these people go on vacation? That's really funny. I mean, like, there are other things that you could make a whole story out of it. Like, what do they eat on vacation? Do you think they go and look at people who are eating fish and are like, oh, you think that's how you eat fish? Or do you think they really enjoy cotton candy and candy apples or whatever? Like, it's a good question. Or is a vacation for them going to like southern Canada or like southern Russia? Like, anything more than that is extreme heat to them. Another funny joke would be,
I have no idea. Eskimo, how many Eskimos are there in the world?
enough, like tens of thousands. Another one would be, I have a proposal for a television show. It's called Eskimo Wife Swap. Can you imagine somebody living in a suburban house has to go live in an igloo, and someone who's living in an igloo has to go live in a suburban house? And then they could just, you know, when the person comes back, they'd be like, do you know there's a thing called eat? Like, I'm just pissed off at them. And I know anybody who's watching this, not like they're Yupik and Inuit people. And I know that not everybody lives in an igloo. And I know that not everybody, you know, you have like electricity to some extent, but it's just kind of a funny premise. That's a really funny premise, Zoot. It would be called, you know how they have like Extreme Makeover? Well, why don't they have Extreme Wife Swap, where you take someone from a tribal village in Africa and someone in an Eskimo igloo and switch them? Like, this wouldn't be like, oh, we're going to switch like you who lives in this suburb with you who lives in this suburb. Anybody can do that. This is extreme. It's funny. We take an Aboriginal family and swap them with this family who lives in a teepee. That's a really funny premise. It's got a good name, Extreme Wife Swap.
Extreme wrestler.
Well, yeah, because there's something known in the United States, at least. It's called Extreme Home Makeover. It's a really popular show. And so you use the Extreme Makeover idea. And then there's another show called Wife Swap. And so you just do Extreme Wife Swap. And instead of it being like a lady who's swapping spots with another lady in two different suburbs, in two different comfortable homes, it's like really intense. It's like somebody who lives in a teepee swaps with somebody who lives in an igloo, or someone who lives on an Aboriginal plain with someone who lives in a yurt. It's a really funny premise. I'm not saying it's the funniest joke in the world, but it's funny. There's a lot you can do with that premise. And if they really did make that a show, I think it'd be super popular. People would love that. All right, Zoot. I've got to prepare for this podcast. So you come up with a joke on Mickey Mouse, the weather, and dogs. Can you do that? And it's got to be PG-13. They don't have to be PG. They don't have to be G. They can be a little naughty, but nothing too wild. Okay, you think you can do that?
Yeah.
Okay, and you come back tonight and you let me know what you came up with, and we'll hear it. Shout out to Zoo.
Shout out to Extreme Wife Swap. That's a funny joke.
From your Toyota dealer's traffic center, we make it easy. There's a stall in Boyle Heights on the 6th.
Shema, Yisrael, Adonai, Elohim, Adonai, Shema, Yisrael, Adonai, Elohim, Adonai.
What is dedication? The thing that drives me every day is Dad, is Ariana. We call him Mayday for short. Every day he's hungry for something, whether it's attention, affection, knowledge, and there's this huge responsibility to making sure that I'm under my wing as a good person. I want them to be able to see that we work together and do a good job.
That's dedication. Find out more at fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council. iHeart is America's #1 podcast network. Open the free iHeart app and explore podcasts like this. September 1979. Virginia's top prison band, Edge of Daybreak, is about to attempt the impossible. Recording their debut album, High Bars, in just 5 hours.
They were black artists serving extremely long felony sentences. Each had grown up under segregation, only to get caught up in America's prison during their 20s. I'm Jamie Petrus, music and culture writer. For the past 5 years, I've been talking to the band's 3 surviving members, Jamal Jahan-Nubi, Neil Cade, and Harry Cupcake Cole.
We of the state system. They would come in and say, just like it poured off of us, just to hit us.
They're out of prison now and in their 70s. Their past behind them. But they also have some unfinished business. They never got that opportunity, but they never stopped dreaming big. Listen to Soul Incarcerated on the iHeart Radio app. Listen on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Listen to free iHeart listen now.
Hello everyone, it's Julie Corey here.
Just connected to the kitchen
show. Directly into the
I can't be cool these guys out, so I don't know how I can get Let's get real. Magnificent Others is a long-form show that explore with great artists, musicians, anybody I truly admire. We want to hear fresh stories, we want to hear fresh perspectives, we want to understand the times, their individuated perspectives.
It's too late. Yeah,
on today's show, we got these big moments. We definitely cracking us up. I can assure you that join you on Magnificent Others. Very curious, one-of-a-kind exploration of these great minds.
Listen on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Open your free iHeart app and listen now.
GFI, GM640, more stimulating talk.
So,
the fire trucks are getting ready to pull out of oil lights. And that means the lawyers that are BMWs are pulling out just how much the people get, how much is it going to cost you? That's today on air.
It's one right now. Or you says a whole story, a whole thing in a second. Then you shoot an animal, and then you rip a piece of wood right out of its neck when it's still moving, and you eat it as if you ate it with a kind of knife. It's alive, but it's not alive. I'm the federal government. So other than the fear side of it, that only works with killing it. But we make it out of the government that's that. So I gave it a kind of they were check it out. We have a little bit of a video there. The Postmaster General, a little bit on the head. It's one of the videos that I would have advised not to do the ending.
In states that refuse to provide motivated to the federal government. Here we go. That's going to court, and my guess is the court's going to hold that unconstitutional. That stops states from determining their rules, which is constantly Constitution just gets in the way, isn't it? It's always in the way. And so, now back to a topic that I want to share with you, and that has to do with passive income. Passive income is income that you don't physically work for. And why is passive income going crazy? Well, because people are pretty unsatisfied with their work environment. They're afraid, either they have lost their jobs or afraid of losing their jobs because of AI, and there's not enough money because the cost of living is outstripping any kind of wage increase. So let's get money somewhere else. Let's figure it out. Over half of Americans, 60% of Gen Z, say a conventional full-time job will not allow them to hit their financial goals. So there's a couple ways of doing it. 1 in 4 say they have a side hustle, part of the gig economy. In other words, you go to work and then you drive for DoorDash or Uber or Lyft, or go Walmart and say, "No, go to Walmart, go to the front door." That's what happens. So what's going on? Well, we're being told, hey, you can make money on the side through passive investments, and here's how. With real estate and businesses, and we are going to help you do that just by this book, this CD, this just sign up for this subscription. And that is going on. It's just exploding for those reasons. A lot of them, instead of you are good. But how do you know? I don't know which ones are good. I mean, the ones that say, I'm going to teach you how to make a lot of money, I think those are the people that make their money, not with the underlying premise, not with the underlying program, but in selling you the program. It's almost like a multi-marketing level. I'm not making my money in selling the product, I'm making my money in getting you to sell the product. And you're seeing these ads explode. And I look at them for real estate. For example, finding real estate. That one is always me. We're going to help you find those houses. I know house flippers. And let me tell you the expertise. And let me tell you how many pros are out there looking at the same property.
However,
I have one right now. I'm not going to do it because I can afford to put down payments and qualify for why would you want to have that level of expertise? And you're not going to learn that level of expertise reading a book. And that's just one of many programs that are out there. So the feds are finding out that there is a big problem with that. And like anything else, what the internet does is it's full of scammers, and it's just a different way of getting people pushing the spam. If it is some of them are going to hear a lot of financial news. We're going to teach you how to work the market. We'll teach you how that you can make money with the market, buying and selling stocks. And I don't know how to do it. I know money managers who try. People who are absolute experts in the field and work at stocks every single day, 12 hours a day. And they have a very rough time. So you are going to see a lot of this programs out there. The nicest prices. That tells you how you can do it. I think the bottom line of this program is, you know what, I can ask you one more here too. I can go down next time we talk to Rich. How you can on what is the program that you hear on radio or television or through the internet. What is the program? Money and how you turn those.
Structure of reality. One of the principal roles religion plays in this respect is explaining the origin, nature, and final destiny of evil. Of course, this question has been answered in numerous ways, even within singular religious traditions. Philosophers have
Several of them, the High Court has cleared the way for the Trump administration to revive its restrictive immigration policy that allows officials to turn people seeking asylum back at the U.S.-Mexico border. The justices also struck down a law in Hawaii that requires permission to carry guns in stores and hotels.
No one really knows for sure. Elevate, Elohim. Chaim, but this is Missouri, 3761, creation of the world, birth of Adam, 3631, 137, the son of Adam was born. 3526, 235, Enosh, son of Seth was born. 3436, 325, Kenan, son of Enosh was born. 3366, 395, Mahalalel, son of Kenan was born. 3301, 460, Jared, son of Mahalalel was born. 3139, 622, Hanok, son of Jared was born. 3074, 687, Methuselah, son of Hanok was born. 2887, 874, Lamech 2, son of Methuselah was born. 2831, 930, Adam died. 2705, 1056, Noah, son of Lamech 2 was born. It's 10th of Tammuz, 5786, Thursday, June 25th. We've been doing this which 181 days. Coffee and coffee.
The wielder of magic in both myth and history has at their disposal a wide range of supernatural tools, from arcane tomes, magical wands, animal familiars, swords, candles, bells, rings, and so on. It's as if the very world is at the fingertips of the mage or witch and is charged with their power. Among these tools, the magical cloak has proven ubiquitous through time and culture. Indeed, the cloak of the sorcerer also has a very specific kind of magical property, that of rendering its wearer invisible, a motif reaching back into Welsh mythology and surviving to this day in Harry Potter. In this episode, I want to explore a text from the world of Kabbalah Ma'asit, or practical Kabbalah, or just really Jewish magic, that described the production of just such a magical garment, hence the name of the text, the Sefer HaMalchut, or the Book of the Garment. If you're interested in magic, Hermetic philosophy, or mysticism, make sure to subscribe and check out my other content on topics in esotericism. Also, if you want to support my work of providing accessible, scholarly, and free content on topics in esotericism here on YouTube, I hope you consider supporting my work on Patreon or on a one-time donation. You can find those links below, and I really appreciate your consideration of supporting this channel and making this presentation possible. Now, let's explore a magical garment infused with divine names, which empowers the Kabbalist or sorcerer with all manner of supernatural powers. But wait, there's more this week. Come along for Magical Cloaks and stick around this week for a bonus magical text on astral and angelic magic. I'm Dr. Justin Sledge, and welcome to Esoterica, where we explore the arcane in history, philosophy, and religion. While magical garments are a commonplace in many tales and myths, descriptions about how to actually produce them are rather rare in the is much more rare. Though the Sefer HaMalchut is exceptional in this regard. Though, as we'll see, the garment functions more as a conduit for divine power than as a magical garment in itself. The text is known in several Hebrew and Aramaic versions, which seem to have been produced sometime in the Eonic period of Jewish history, or the period just after the redaction of the Babylonian Talmud around 600 or 500 of the Common Era to around a little after 1000 of the Common Era. Two principal redactions seem to have proven popular. What may have been an earlier text is called the Torah Malchut, or the Garment Instructions, to be very literal, and it describes the preparation of a golden plate which is worn around the neck. And after a series of vigorous purifications provides the wearer a wide range of magical powers. Of course, golden lamens are well attested in the ancient world. The most famous, I think, probably are the famed Orphic gold tablets found in various graves throughout the Mediterranean region. These are perhaps the aid and success of achieving a good afterlife. Interestingly, Torah HaMabush refers to this layman as a tzitz, which is the same Hebrew word found in the Bible for the golden headband worn by the high priest in the Jerusalem temple. This earlier or perhaps parallel text is known primarily from the Cairo Geniza, and it perhaps eventually transformed into the Sefer HaMabush as we currently have it. Indeed, magical headbands with divine names on them continue to be used down to contemporary ritual magical practice, as I understand. The Sefer HaMabush itself appears in several different Hebrew and Aramaic versions and describes the process of Levishat Hashem, or the donning or putting on of the name, in which the power of secret names of God come to be infused into the being of the practitioner, thus providing them with supernatural quasi-divine power. This process of Levishat Hashem is known from other magical texts as well, maybe most famously in the Charvat de Moshe, or the Sword of Moses, which I've actually made an episode about. Check out the card above if you want to learn more about this really interesting magical code book. In the Sefer HaMabush, we are provided elaborate instructions for producing a Ma'il HaSadikah, or a mantle of righteousness, inscribed or written upon with a very elaborate divine name, which, after donning and a series of ritual immersions, transfers some of the practitioner. We're also told that this entire process requires 7 different steps. A first period of 7-day fasting and careful attention to avoid anything coming into contact with the practitioner which would render them tameh, or ritually unclean. After this first period, there is a ritual immersion, or mikvah, followed by the production of the text's namesake, the magical garment. The garment itself is made from gazelle skin or gazelle parchment, and again, probably pointing to a Near East origin of the text more generally, which is fashioned into a sleeveless cloak, covering the shoulders down to the hips, along with a hood. On the front and rear of the garment, one is to write a long and elaborate divine name, which may also include some angelic names, all of which are referred to in the text as great and terrible. We are told that the hood can also be replaced with a golden diadem, or tzitz, just like the Torah HaMabush, along with a shorter name, mostly consisting of the theonym Yah over and over again, to be written on either the diadem or on the hood. Once the garment is complete, another more intense period of fasting and ritual purity begins, including mikvah immersions every evening. Here, the practitioner is only allowed a Spartan vegetarian diet, with even eggs and fish being forbidden. This is somewhat curious because in the Jewish law of kashrut, fish are taken to be neither meat nor dairy, pointing to the intensity of this fast. These fasts, it appears, are akin to the minor fast, which lasts from dawn till darkness, and at the end of this 7-day period, on the 8th evening or 8th night, one must go to the water of ritual immersion and invoke the names from the garment over them, the waters that is. If a green, glowing form appears over the water, then this, according to the text, is taken as a sign that the proper level of purity has not been achieved, and you have to continue the ritual. If this proper level of purity isn't reached, to continue, one has to give alms to the poor and distribute food to the hungry. And given that you've been basically fasting for 2 weeks, you should have plenty to give away. And begin another 7-day period of fasting. If, however, the form floating above the water is red in color, then you are pure enough to enter the water up to the stomach. Not full immersion as one would expect in a mikvah, but upon exiting, you become infused with divine power, appearing as if an harmony accompanies you and being able to invoke a series of fearful angels. Though the text here becomes pretty vague. It appears as if the angels should appear without hesitation, though there is a preference to something like doing the rituals at the proper hour, which isn't spelled out in any detail. Further, we're also told that the company of angels that will join you will only do so for 3-4 hours at most, and for only 7 days in total, and only just once a day for some reason. Now, just how to accomplish this invocation remains mysterious, and indeed, this section seems to require knowledge of another Jewish magical text produced around the same time, the Sefer HaYashar, or the Book of the Upright Way, or the Book of the Correct Way. There's a lot of words to translate this word HaYashar. It appears that the Sefer HaYashar was produced around the same time as the Sefer HaMabush and the Karba de Moshe, probably within the same magical circles. And it claims that it was given out of pity to Adam by the angel Gazur and was passed down to its current edition. This text takes its name from one of the mysterious books referred to in the Torah, but otherwise lost or maybe never existed, like the Sefer Milchamot Hashem, and it's important that this text not be confused with the later medieval text on ethics or the spurious midrashic text that became somewhat popular in the 19th century. Some version of this text was likely known to folks like the High Gaon, who reference it by name, but also to Karaite Jews who also mention it in their anti-Rabbinite polemics. As you may know, the Karaites are about 50,000 in existence in the world, were anti-rabbinical Jews who rejected the authority of the Talmud and the oral Jewish law more generally. Of course, they went on to make their own oral Jewish law, and as you can imagine, the Karaite-Rabbinite beef would make for some great epic rap battles. The Sadia Gaon versus Anan ben David, come on, it basically writes itself. For real though, regardless, the text is pretty well attested and describes another divine name, a series of complex supplications, and a ritual which provides a range of semi-divine powers over the forces of nature, over various creatures, even power over the sun and the moon, a la Joshua, the Battle of Igal. The Sefer HaYashar involves a fast from meat and even certain spices, ritual purity, but also giving alms to the poor, though interestingly enough, ritual fumigations involving various kinds of incense. The core of this text, however, are the various angelic powers which are said to preside over various seasons, astrological periods, and the hours of the day and night. It appears that the Sefer HaMabush probably has something like these tables in mind when providing advice on the invocations of the various angels. Indeed, the Sefer HaYashar gives a much fuller range of the divine powers of the divine name that it offers. If you're curious, these include things like drying up rivers, making the dead speak, extinguishing fires, breaking rocks, taming serpents, making barren women fertile, rending the sea, a la Moses, melting swords, healing the sick, driving out demons, delivering captives, and also shaking foundations. I think this has in mind perhaps the walls of Jericho. Also, you have to call out the divine names 21 times, 3 times 7, and this also provides mystical knowledge of the Torah, which parallels the Sar Torah literature found in certain Merkava or Hechalim texts. More on those in the card above. Recall that invocation summons an angel called the Prince of the Torah, Sar Torah, that instantaneously teaches one a wide range of rabbinical wisdom. I mean, who wants to spend all day bent over a copy of the Vilna Shas? Just get an angelic tutor to teach it to you immediately. As I mentioned earlier, although it's not exactly clear, the Sefer HaMavush, the Chabad Moshe, and the Sefer HaYashar were all probably sharing some similar culture of production, probably in the area around Babylon or maybe in Palestine, around the year 1000 or so of the Common Era. And both of these texts survive into the Christian Middle Ages, and a version of the Sefer Malbush actually appears in both the Sefer Ma'amar HaSmalit, or the treaties on the emanations of the left-hand side. This is an early Kabbalistic explanation of the origins of evil produced in the 13th century in Spain, but it also appears in a slightly different form in the Sefer Raziel HaMalach, or the book of the angel of Raziel. Raziel, of course, means the secret self of God, which that book is still printed to this day. Regardless, what we have in this Greek text, the Sefer HaMalbush, is a 1,000-year-old complex ritual for the production of a magical cloak of sorts, which, infused with the divine name, provides one with a range of magical powers. Curiously, however, invisibility doesn't appear to be one of them. Sorry. Further, the Sefer HaYashar also provides a more astral angelic magic, which seems to mesh well with other Jewish magical texts from this period. So, 2 magical texts in this episode. The authoritative study of these texts is Irina Vandri's Das Buch des Gewandes und das Buch auf Aufrechten, which, as you can probably tell through my bad pronunciation, is in German, and it's kind of difficult to find, and only 120 euros for an ebook, which, not quite real prices, is getting there, so good job with those expensive academic book prices there. However, I will say that this study is incredibly careful, looking at a range of versions with a careful attention to both historical and textual detail and their transmissions. It actually just seems like the kind of book that you would hope to find actually to be written in German. The independent scholar Feliciano has also produced a convenient English translation of both of these texts, which are available on their academia page, which I'll link below. The best histories of Jewish magic are those by Harari and Boha, and both are equally worth checking out for their slightly different emphases. I'll also include a link to a digital version of a manuscript from Oxford that dates from the 13th century, though this recension is different from the others. Thing. I'll also link to a page of the Sefer Raziel HaMalach with yet another recension of the Sefer HaMalbush. Welcome to studying real magical texts, folks. Recensions, recensions, recensions. Well, make sure to subscribe for more content on magic, esotericism, and the occult, and make sure to check out this playlist for more historical books of magic. Until next time, I'm Dr. Justin Sledge, and thanks for watching Esoterica, where we explore the arcane in history, philosophy, and religion. One of the core concepts of Abrahamic theology, especially in the Christian and Islamic worlds, is that of a war waged between the forces of goodness, represented by God and the great angelic army, and those of evil, represented, of course, by Satan, or Iblis, and the great demonic horde. Over the centuries, theologians, mystics, and occultists have drawn up incredibly complex hierarchies of such beings, with the names, seals, and tasks, and even their final destiny detailed in a range of texts, from canonical biblical scriptures, books allegedly revealed by such entities, to texts whose origins remain to this day rather mysterious. The world of angels and demons continues to fascinate, terrify, and inspire billions of believers all over the world. But what do we know about the origin of these entities in the Abrahamic tradition? If we were to rewind the clock back to the ancient Israelites, the progenitors of Jewish, Christian, and Islamic mythologies, among others, what do we know about the earliest stratum of Israelite demonology? In this episode, we're going to do just that. Explore the demonological ecology of the ancient Israelite worldview. If you're interested in magic, the academic analysis of the occult and hermetic philosophy, make sure to subscribe and check out my other content on topics in esotericism. Also, if you want to support my work of providing accessible, scholarly, and free content on topics in esotericism here on YouTube, consider supporting my work on Patreon or perhaps with a one-time donation. As you might imagine, this is really only possible with your support. Links below. Really appreciate your consideration of supporting on this channel. So let's turn to a people at once incredibly popular and yet at the same time rather mysterious. The ancient Israelites and their mythology. I'm Dr. Justin Sledge, and welcome to Esoterica, where we explore the arcane history, philosophy, and religion. The Israelites were among the groups of people of the ancient Levant called the Canaanites. Is a mention in the Merneptah stele dating to the early 13th century BCE, and go on to great fame as the progenitors of the Abrahamic religions, including Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, among others. Their writings are preserved in inscriptions, letters, and perhaps most famously in the collection of texts that we now call the Hebrew Bible or the Christian Old Testament. To get a grasp of the demonological landscape of the Israelites, we need to turn to that literature, though with an eye to nearby cultures and writings. Of course, the ancient Israelites didn't exist in a vacuum, and their culture was influenced by and a reaction to their neighbors, like any culture. So, what do we mean by demon? Well, the term itself has a complicated history, and what we're doing in this episode is a bit anachronistic, just to be honest. That said, for the purposes of this episode, we're going to mean by demon something like malevolent supernatural being. Well, at least malevolent to us, human beings. But as we'll see, this gets really complicated, but as a proving, it's about the best that we're going to do. What's perhaps most conspicuous about such entities in Israelite religious culture in relationship to their neighbors, and here I'm thinking about the Egyptian and Mesopotamian religious cultures, is just the dearth of such beings. We just don't see angels or demons or other supernatural non-odd beings. Ancient Israel just didn't have much in the way of demons or angels, for that matter, until the rise of apocalyptic Judaism in the Persian period. Hundreds of demons are from ancient Egypt, many with really high-profile roles in their religious mythology. For instance, Amen is perhaps the most famous. This demon has the lower body of Hippopotamus, the forebody of the head of a crocodile, eats the souls of those found unjust in the trials of the afterlife. And they're literally the one that devours the dead. So, yeah, they eat your soul. And the Egyptians were rightly terrified of them. Over in Mesopotamia, similar beings are also known, though not quite to the degree of proliferation that we find in ancient Egypt. Typically, these beings are the descendants of Kor or Utsetu in the Semitic Akkadian language, and these would include the torturous Gala demons, along with the most famous of such beings, Pazuzu, king of the demons of the wind, brother of the monster Humbaba of Epic of Gilgamesh fame, the son of the god Hanbi, and possessor of the little girl Regan from The Exorcist. Of similar fame is the demoness Lamashtu, killer of infants and children, who would eventually develop into the demoness Lilith many centuries later. Though, as I mentioned a moment ago, if one were to survey Israelite literature and mythology, which we're kind of doing, the first thing that you would notice is there just aren't many such beings around at all. And when they are mentioned, it's almost always in passing, and there's virtually no mythological filling out or backstories for these beings. From this, we can conclude that the people that composed and redacted Israelite literature, Hebrew Bible, or the Old Testament, were simply either suppressing such a mythological aspect of their culture, or were simply disinterested in such beings, or that such beings just didn't play that much of a role in their mythology. And sure enough, if you look at other earlier Canaanite texts, such as those recovered from Ugarit, we see that such beings, being somewhat like angels and demons, don't really play that much of a role in their mythology either. Indeed, the ancient Near East generally operates on a different religious paradigm than in later mythologies. Whereas the apocalyptic religious rebel paradigm to a battle of good versus evil, which remains basically the dominant paradigm today, ancient and archaic paradigm was a chaos versus order paradigm. This more archaic mythology shows that Baal, Marduk, and Yahweh defeating the forces of chaos, often in the form of terrible sea monsters like Tiamat, Yam, and Leviathan. Indeed, this chaos conf myth, as it's known to scholars, survives through the Bible, and is perhaps most apparent in the book of Job there, especially toward the end, and in Psalm 74. So one of the major reasons that angels and demons just don't play much of a role in this very early stratum of Israelite mythology is that the central paradigm here just isn't good versus evil. It's order versus chaos, with chaos having been conquered in the primeval past. Now, that's not to say that malevolent supernatural beings aren't present. They just aren't mythologically central like they become later, after the religious revolution of apocalypticism starting in the Persian period. Indeed, in that paradigm, the major drama or religious conflict is moved from the primeval past to the distant future. So what do we know about such demon-like entities in this very early period, say from roughly 1200 or 1000 BCE to roughly around 586 BCE? Typically, we can divide such beings into three groups. There are personifications of malevolent forces, there are hostile members of the divine council, and there's a kind of grab bag of otherwise obscure beings that seem to inhabit the wilderness and wastelands of ancient Israel. Note what's missing here. There really isn't much in the way of chthonic or beings that emerge from the underworld. The reason why has to do with how the ancient Israelites conceived of their underworld or afterlife called Sheol. This realm isn't a place of punishment, but a kind of gloomy, dark place of inaction. While the dead do dwell there, there's no conception of heaven or hell at this period in Israelite history, and thus no demons to live or emerge from there. I've actually done a whole episode on the Israelite conception of the afterlife, or Sheol. You can click the card above if you want to learn more about it. So let's take each category in turn, first with malevolent personifications. Perhaps the most ancient of these is death itself. Death, or Mot, was a god quasi-conquered by Baal in Canaanite mythology, and there are some echoes of this personification of death in the Hebrew Bible. though generally such motifs are muted by Israelite writers, probably in the interest of divorcing their mythology from their neighbors. Further, battering winds are sometimes also personified, and one kind of recalls the western wind demon Pazuzu, which brings drought. And this is also connected to Mot, or death, in Canaanite mythology. Though the central entities here are typically various forms of sickness, including mental illness. We find personifications of fever disease or epidemics generally, typically associated with Reshef or Dever, a survival of a general disease god from Canaanite and eventually New Kingdom Egyptian mythology more generally. In fact, the prophet Habakkuk describes Yahweh going to war and seemingly driving a chariot pulled by Dever and Reshef, or pestilence and fever, with Reshef probably coming from the root which means burning, as in a burning fever. Of course, plague demons are widely attested in the ancient world, and a great deal of ancient medicine, especially ancient Mesopotamian medicine, had to do as much with exorcism as it did with what we would now recognize as medicine as such as the use of various kinds of pharmacological drugs. What's worth pointing out here, however, is that such personifications of disease in the Hebrew Bible are almost always under the direct command of Yahweh and not independent beings as such. Mental illness or insanity is also attested, specifically in the case of the first Israelite king, Saul. Here we find a Ruach Ra'ah mi Yahweh, or an evil spirit from Yahweh, being sent to afflict the king with some kind of mental illness that causes him to fly into rages and fall into despondency, only temporarily soothed by the music of the young David. That this being or evil spirit is sent by the Israelite God is again important, and this leads us to our second category, hostile members of the Divine Council. The concept of the Divine Council is rather archaic, and it does survive into Israelite mythology despite the eventual emergence of monotheism. This is likely evidenced by the plural "let us make" in the first Genesis creation story, but also appears especially in places like Psalm 82, which strikes me as a rather archaic Israelite document. The members of the Divine Council have been demoted to non-divine beings in Israelite mythology and are generally dispatched to specific tasks on behalf of Yahweh. Several such beings seem especially interesting for our study. The first is among my favorite stories in the Hebrew Bible. Here we find Yahweh wanting to kill the Israelite king Achav, or Ahab, who is actually attested outside the Bible, and in order to do so, a ruse is required to have him killed on the battlefield. To accomplish this, Yahweh inquires of the Divine Council who would be willing to deceive Achav, or Ahab, and a Ruach, or spirit, volunteers to become a Ruach Sheker, or a deceptive spirit, a lying spirit, who will go into the mouth of Achav's prophet so as to deliver a false prophecy, which will cause him to go to battle and get killed. Now, despite the true prophecy of Michayahu, the deceptive spirit is successful, and Achav is, got shot with an arrow and bleeds out on the battlefield. Now, why is this one of my favorite stories in the Hebrew Bible? Because it reveals Yahweh capable of being a cunning and deceptive God, which otherwise disrupts so many simplistic and tidy theological accounts of a loving, just, or even kind God. I enjoy this account because it complicates Yahweh and Israelite more generally, and complicated characters are more interesting, if not a little terrifying. One might also add an entity, sometimes Malach Mashchit, or the mess instruction, to this list as well. Also, the messenger or angel of the Lord, or angel of Yahweh. This entity seems primarily to have the grim task of mass executing alike. The only description of this entity is a vision had by King David. We're told of the titans of this being, such that it was standing between heaven and earth with a sword in its hand extending for all of Jerusalem. Perhaps the most terrifying appearance of the Hamashchit, or the destroyer, is the final of the 10 plagues set upon the ancient Egyptians. There the Israelites are warned to smear lamb's blood above the Mashchit will pass over their homes as it stalks and kills the Egyptian firstborn, from the firstborn of the cattle to the from the Egyptian perspective, but this will eventually be transformed into the Malach HaMavet, about the of the angel of death. Be sure to check out my episode on that topic in the card above. Of always identified with the definite article Satan, definite article in Hebrew, and the Satan, which means something like the accuser or the adversary or the absurd, is a title rather than a name. So Satan, as counsel, who seems to act as either a kind of prosecuting attorney against human beings, or otherwise obstructs human affairs on the command of Yahweh. This entity is mentioned 10 times in the Hebrew Bible, most famously as the torturer. Let's basically on a bed. I mean, Yahweh does give him something, and then of course Yahweh brags about defeating Leviathan. Anything to do with, Job's dead family. I mean, dead family. I beat up a sea monster one time. I like them apples. Whatever. The Satan also blocks the way of the prophet Balaam, but is never linked with, for instance, the talking serpent in the second Genesis creation story. Nor with the Malach Yahweh, or the angel of the Lord, which, as I mentioned a moment ago, kind of sometimes goes on a rampage and kills a bunch of people for stuff like taking an unauthorized census. Of course, over time, all this more evil-ish stuff will get linked with Hasatan, and in the process by which the Satan becomes just, Satan or the devil, especially in Christian and Islamic mythology. Now, just that process is going to have to be the topic of a future episode, how a title of a being became the devil, but those elements aren't yet present in the Hebrew Bible. In fact, Yahweh and the Satan seem kind of chummy sometimes, and it's clear that at this point in Israelite mythology, the Satan certainly operates on behalf of Yahweh, not despite or opposed to him. A profound difference from the Satan of later Christian and Islamic mythology. The last group of hostile divine council members are also somehow tied to the beings described in Genesis as the Nephilim, or literally the fallen ones. These beings seem to have been members of the divine council who come to earth to mate with human women, thus producing a race of giants that is kinda wiped out a few chapters later in a great flood. I say kinda wiped out because there are other biblical texts that make genealogical connections between these giants and characters like Og of Bashan, the Philistine Goliath, who the Bible can't quite decide who killed him, King David propaganda, and the giants are the Anakim seen by the spies sent by Joshua. Of course, the Nephilim get a much bigger backstory in the first book of Enoch, produced during the high period of apocalypticism, but the Hebrew Bible is generally uninterested in them except to explain the presence of later kind of gigantic people. Perhaps the larger on the Nephilim was already understood or otherwise documented, and they didn't feel the need to flesh out the idea of the Nephilim, or the Nephilim just weren't that interesting interesting to the composers of these texts, or this was some part of esoteric mythology that didn't get much public discussion. It's hard to know. I think the dearth of information in the Hebrew Bible